back in my help desk days, the manager actually had his desk right in the middle of the help desk pods. When the call volume got high, he jumped right in and started taking calls. So lead by example. Be that leader that the others should strive to be.
Building out that culture in a way where you're bringing people in who fit into those values and can continue to drive it as well from the bottom up. So I think that helps just create that culture of belonging and trust amongst people.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Culture of belongingness. That is so amazing.
Welcome to this special MSP talent-focused episode of Sunny Silver Linings. Sunny's guests this week are Jen Zaroski, Chief People Officer, VC3, and Todd Billiar, Director of Strategic Partnerships, IT by Design. Now, here's your host, the founder and CEO of IT by Design, and MSP talent expert, Mr. Sunny Kayla. Over to you, Sunny.
Hi, Jen. Hello, Todd. Welcome to Sunny's Silver Linings.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sunny. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I truly appreciate you, Jen, joining us today. We do a lot of talent talk, me and Todd, and I'm really excited about having this conversation with you today. I want to start with learning about you. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me today. So I've been in human resources for almost 20 years, and I work in the tech industry as well. I've been working for a tech company for about 8.5 years. And on the personal side, I'm a mom to 2 boys, 11 and 14 years old, and I live up here in Canada.
Appreciate that, Jen. Thank you for sharing that. And Todd, how about you?
Thanks, Sunny. Happy to be here. My name's Todd Billiar. I'm Director of Strategic Partnerships here at IT by Design. I've been in the IT channel for about 20-some years. Don't want to age myself too much, but the last 10 to 12, I've been hyper-focused on talent management, specifically in the MSP vertical.
Thank you for sharing that, Todd. So I want to start with learning from your experience in a way that, it's hindsight is gold. If I knew this when I was 21 years old. So Jen, we're going to start with you. What advice do you have for those who are just entering MSP channel or in general business? So startups, leaders, entrepreneurs, what can you share with them from your experience that can accelerate their journey to success?
Yeah, great question. I think entering into either that entrepreneurial space or a leadership role, either one, it's just a reminder that you don't need to know it all, right? You're going to learn, and, someone's put you in that position because they see the potential in you, or you've entered that space because of a desire and a drive, but that doesn't mean you need to have it all figured out. And so you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay, right? And that's where we all learn the most, is from making mistakes or failures. Fail fast, they say, and learn and move on. And I think that's, something really important to learn is you don't need to go in thinking that someone is expecting you to have it all figured out, and ask questions, read books, listen to podcasts. There's so many different sources out there of where you can pick up different ideas and learnings and then make them your own.
That is so wonderful. I love that. So what I heard you say is, learn it all. You don't have to know it all.
Exactly.
So don't be that person who knows it, knows everything. You want to know stuff and learn. So learn it all, not know it all. No one is expecting that. And also, mistake is only a mistake if you don't learn from a mistake. Otherwise, it's called learning from your experience.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that thinking. Thank you. Todd, what do you think? So what advice do you have for everyone?
I would say find a mentor. Find a mentor to guide you, to help you learn those things. You're not going to know it all. And don't be afraid to fail. In fact, if you're not failing and learning from those failures, you're not pushing yourself hard enough. You're not trying enough new things. And if you're not trying new things, you're not learning, you're not growing.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Todd. like having a mentor is really, really important. And Jen, when I interviewed Ryan on this podcast, one thing that he shared was, if I had to redo this for the same question, I will join a peer group early on. And that was
Absolutely.
basically, I think it's aligned with what you guys are sharing, that learn from others, like having a mentor. So podcast, books, peers, surround yourself with great people,
Mhm.
and success will follow you,
Yeah.
and believe in learning. Now I have like a culture expert today. That's you, Jen. Like, I'm very passionate about culture. What I do believe in is, like, as leaders, our number one goal is to impact others that we work with in a positive way. So can you share your thinking in terms of how one can create a great culture in a company?
Yeah, good question. I agree. I think it starts at the top, right? So that visible leadership who drives the purpose and the energy of the organization. Um, and then as leaders, making time for your people and being present, caring about them as people is a big shift we're sort of seeing in the marketplace, right? These are humans. You hear the words like psychological safety a lot, and creating that environment where people can show up as they are heard. So I think those are all really important. And then as an organization, having your values and living those values every day. And that, again, it starts at the top. Are your leaders really living into those values that you've set as an organization, or are they just words on a website, right? Which they should never be. They should really mean something. And so building out that culture in a way where you're bringing people in who fit into those values and can continue to drive it as well from the bottom up. So I think that helps just create that culture of belonging and trust amongst people.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Culture of belongingness. That is
Yeah,
so amazing. Yeah, so we it's so well aligned with what we do here at ITBD in terms of our thinking. Like, it's the culture of community building,
absolutely.
that community of belonging. So, and then values, and they're not just for the wall. They are more of lived. It's a way of life every day. That's what we believe in, and appreciate you sharing that. And energy in the company, I love that piece, because people do talk about psychological safety. And Todd, what's your thinking on, like, how to go about building a great company culture?
I think, and actually, I'm going to steal one of your lines, Sonny. You have to have a culture by design versus a culture by default. And you have to be intentional about the members you add to your team. As I talk to other MSPs and we're talking about the interviewing and onboarding process, I always tell them in an interview, that you're really doing two things. One, you're making sure that person has the technical skills you're looking for. But more importantly, you're making sure they're a good culture fit, because you don't want to bring this resource in and blow up everything you've already built, a successful team, because that just makes that mishire that much more expensive. So be very selective as to who you add to your team. Don't just go, oh, this person has this skill, let's just get them onboarded right away, or get her onboarded right away. Be very intentional and build that culture by design. And then going back to my military days, lead from the front as a leader, lead by example. A great mentor of mine in the past, when I was back in my help desk days, the manager actually had his desk right in the middle of the help desk pods. So it was, I'd say open door, but it wasn't even open door. It was open walls, because there wasn't even any high walls, but he was right there. And, when the call volume got high, he jumped right in and started taking calls. So lead by example. Be that leader that the others should strive to be.
Yeah. I was in the gym this morning, Jen and Todd. I saw this and I took a picture. It's we focus on the whole you. So when you guys are talking about the culture and everything, it's like the life by design that we talk about, not by default. That life is going to happen. so so everything here at IT by Design, Jen, is about, like, everything is around by design. What occurred to me there when I looked at this sign and why I took this picture was, I'm like, that's how I think about employee care. It's not only the comp and benefits. It's not only things that normally you do, career planning, but we should be thinking about life planning. So, Jen, we created something as part of our Life by Design framework for employee care. So we have the health by design, we have then the relationships by design, and then we have the career by design, and then we have legacy by design. So those are like four pillars so we created some thinking tools. And then what can we do to make sure that you're supported with your positive relationships? What can we do to help you on the career planning side, where you are, where you want to be, what's your passion, what are your strengths that are well aligned with your future work? And then overall, we have like a Go Givers program where we involve people from the legacy point of view that, okay, how can we help you with succession planning? How can we help you like overall the life aspect? So it's a 360 employee care program, which goes beyond paycheck, benefits, and career roadmaps. And that's how we think in terms of employee, being employee centric approach. Okay, my next question: what are some of the strategies that work for you that you think people should consider to engage their employees better, engage their team members better?
That's a good question. It's, definitely in the virtual world as well. Like we work in a remote workplace, so it becomes even more of a question when you're not in person together, where it can kind of happen maybe more easily or without a lot of thought behind it. You need to be more purposeful, I feel like, nowadays in a remote work environment, in increasing that engagement and engaging with your people. And I think a lot of it has to do with, as a leader, you need to be, again, using that word purposeful, in being present with your team and being available for your team and letting them know that you're there for them, and, setting those parameters around when they can reach out to you, anytime if they have questions, or setting that when you're with them virtually or in person, you're present and they feel heard, and that, their concerns, their questions, their growth is important, that you're, hearing all of the things when you're engaged or interacting with them, so that they know that what they have to say is important and that the relationship matters to you as a leader.
Yeah, purposefulness,
Mm-hmm.
purposeful and present to create that engaging culture, that productive culture.
Yeah.
So probably 3 P's: purposeful, present, and productive.
Amazing. I love it. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Todd, on this?
Echoing a lot of what Jen said, I agree. Be intentional about it. Be purposeful. One of the things I have to constantly remind myself is listen to understand. Don't listen to respond. Listen. Make sure that even if do some echoing back to make sure that you're hearing what the person's saying. Make them feel felt. Having that designated time for a manager to meet with their direct reports. And then, the senior leaders being able to come down and do those skip levels so that the junior members of the team know that if there's an issue with their direct manager, that they are going to be heard at a senior level above it.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you. When it's listening you said listen to listen, not to respond. That has a connective tissue with being present, because in order for you to do that, you have to be present. Now, when we talk about, Jen, attracting top talent and retaining top talent, what are some of the strategies that you recommend leaders can use to attract top talent and then retain top talent?
As we all know, in technology, attracting top talent is a challenge. So I think you need to be really clear out in the market on what your employee value proposition is, right? So, and as much as you can, create that image out there in the market so that employees, or when people are looking for jobs, maybe they're not looking right now, but companies will pop up on their radar around why would I want to work there? What is their proposition? And sharing that out and being really honest and clear about, who you are as an organization and what type of people would fit here. So in the MSP world, as an example, we all know it's busy and there's a lot going on, and you need someone who's interested in joining that environment where there's going to be a lot on your plate and things move really quickly, and being clear on that with people so that when you bring them on, they understand the culture and the environment they're coming into. And then also being clear, back to Todd's comment earlier on the values, right? When you're attracting people, you want them to align with your values. And so through that process, whether it's, your job postings or bringing them in for interviews, making sure that you're using those as, questions to determine if they're a culture fit, because you can train on a lot of the technical pieces, but you can't train necessarily on culture fit. And then I think with retention, it goes back to sort of the earlier conversation around, psychological safety. Again, that feeling of belonging. People leave leaders, as we all have heard, right? And so really investing in your leadership and getting them, in a position where they're leading from that place of like psychological safety, trust, and belonging with their people are more likely to stay, as well as them as a whole being, right? Like, what does their career path look like? Working with them on where do you want to go and how can we help you get there? And getting leaders really understanding their role in supporting their people in the personal and professional ways that we can, I think goes a long way with retaining those good fit people.
Yeah, no, that's so good. Because, in order to find and keep good people that we call top talent, first of all, what I heard you say is value prop. Like having that clarity on who you are as a company.
Absolutely.
Right? When you have your own clarity that who you are and what is so unique about your company that you offer to the marketplace.
Yeah.
And then who's going to be right alignment for you because you have clarity on who you want in your team. And you can clearly articulate your value prop to them.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you, Jen. Todd, what are your thoughts?
I think we could take that statement, we've all heard it. People don't leave companies, they leave, managers or leaders. But I think you could actually look at the flip side of that. People join managers, people join leaders. So as a leader, as a manager, in addition to the company building their brand online, as an individual, you have to build your personal brand online. Be active on social. Be that person when that potential candidate has that bad day and they're thinking it's time for a new opportunity. Be that person that comes front of mind that, hey, that guy or that girl puts out a lot of really great content. Maybe I'll reach out to them. And then from a retention, nobody bats 1,000 in retention. So I think another really important piece is if you do lose a top performer that you would want back, have a program in place. Sunny here at IT by Design, we have our golden ticket program. So if somebody wants to go see if the grass is greener on the other side, we let them know, hey, you got 6 months. You can come back. We'll put all your vacation back in place. We'll put your seniority back in place. The door is officially open to come on back. So let them go check out the other side. A lot of times the grass actually isn't greener, and you can bring those top performers back into your organization.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes, that is great. And we have had so many examples where with that golden ticket idea that you gave us, Todd, a lot of people they tried, they're exploring, and which is a great thing. But then when they experience that and they're no, this is not good. I was better back there. And they come back and then they think, oh, I should have watered this grass before.
Right? The grass is greener where you water it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you don't have to go to the other side of the border sometimes.
Yep.
Okay. Now we're going to talk about performance. Performance is a major piece. What can leaders do to make sure that they are able to build high-performing teams and they have best practices to address performance issues when they do see performance issues?
Yeah. We have a saying that we share around our teams quite a bit. A lot of our leaders, if they hear me say this, they'll have heard it 100 times maybe, but we use Brene Brown's quote when we talk to leaders. It's clear is kind and unclear is unkind. And so what I mean by that is, if when talking about performance, if you have someone on your team who maybe isn't meeting their KPIs, or there's, other performance issues going on, is be clear with them, address it with them directly. Oftentimes it can be uncomfortable. So, people try to talk around it or dodge it. And we say, like, that doesn't help that person. We need to be clear with them on, hey, this is what I've noticed. This is what's going on. This is what we expect of you. And so how can we help you get there? And so being really clear on expectations and maybe where there's a gap, and then having that two-way conversation, right? When you have that psychological safety or trust with your team, you can have that two-way conversation with them, where they are probably going to be more open to share with you, hey, this is what's going on, or I'm unclear on this, or I need help. And they know it's a safe place to have that conversation with you or with their peers. We see it a lot on high trust teams where even peers are more comfortable to address something directly with an individual because they have that relationship where they know we can have this conversation and we can be clear around what's going on, and then we can carry on in a productive manner. And I think that's really critical to a team's success when you've built that trust and that clarity of people of what you need from them as an organization.
Yeah, receiving feedback as a leader, it takes courage.
Mm-hmm.
It takes courage to ask your team, hey, what can I do better?
Exactly.
Right? What can I do better? But that's so amazing, so awesome. Clarity, 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 and then psychological safety, safety, safety. And Todd, what are your thoughts?
I agree with Jen. I think it's important that everybody knows what's expected of them. Have a written out and documented scorecard. Share that scorecard right in the interview process. Make sure the person knows, the candidate knows what they're signing up for, what's going to be expected with them. And as you onboard them, show them how their scorecard rolls up to the larger organizational goals. Have a career development plan so they understand as they perform where they're going to go next. And then also as an organization, understand that people, as they mature, as they move down the road, sometimes they outgrow the seat they're in. So make sure you're listening to what their career ambitions are. Move them to a seat where new scorecard, let them know what's going to be expected there. And in those weekly one-on-ones that we talked about earlier, be reviewing that scorecard, be reviewing the performance in real time. We use Team GPS. We can pull how many tickets were closed, what the utilization is. On the sales side, I can see, my manager can see how many emails I sent, how many quotes I sent, how much I've closed, how am I towards quota, and be reviewing that on a weekly basis. So at the end of the quarter, or if you have to put somebody on a PIP, it's not a big surprise, because then you blow that trust factor. Be documenting, be active about it.
So awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So with having that clarity, having that environment where people feel safe to talk about what's working, what's not working, like add KPIs there as well, that, okay, here is how we're going to measure success. These are the success measures for this role. So having that clarity and then reviewing that on a regular basis. One thing that I have learned is I'm like, no one should be surprised if I'm having crucial conversation with someone and it's my last conversation. That person should never say, hey, Sunny, I wish I knew that you feel this way. Sunny, I wish I knew what you're sharing with me 3 months ago, 6 months ago. I wish I had a second chance or third chance. So no one should be surprised, because that's unkind.
Absolutely. Yeah. I use that exact example when I talk to my leaders. Is I know of a real life example where, a manager put off sharing that feedback or having that difficult conversation because it's hard, right? And we feel uncomfortable because, we as humans just don't want to deliver bad news. But it had been going on for quite a while. And the employee said to the manager, I wish you would have told me 6 months ago, because I didn't even know this was an issue. And I would have changed it. And now it's become kind of a habit, and it would have been easier if you would have just told me. And, people wanted most people innately want to do well. So when we bring these things to them, they're usually appreciative. It's hard for sure. And at first they might be taken aback, but they should never, I agree. If you're having those regular one-on-ones, which we do the same thing as weekly one-on-ones, and you're reviewing KPIs or reviewing performance, it should never be a surprise when you get to a point of a PIP or something like that.
Yeah, Jen, thank you so much for joining us. Truly appreciate you taking time to share your experience, your thinking, your wisdom with this world. That's great impact. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching Sunny's Silver Linings. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.